Okay, part 7 of this series on relationships. And I want to talk about planets in the seventh house, particularly Saturn outwards, big ones. Begin with Saturn. You've got Saturn in the seventh house. Well, the thing about Saturn is that he's a planet of age, he's a planet of experience, he's the planet of the gifts that come to us because we've earned them over time. So in Roman times, you used to get the Saturnalia, a feast at harvest time, a party. And, well, what is the harvest? You've tilled the land, you've sowed it, you've watered it, you've taken care of it, you've maybe put a scarecrow up, and then at the right time, you've harvested it. So you've put in all the work. So all that bounty you have, all that grain, yeah, or whatever it is, olives or whatever it is you were growing, you've earned it. So Saturn is a planet of abundance. People don't always think of that with Saturn. They think misery. Saturn and Mars, they're the two malefics. People are very geared towards using astrology for looking out for what might go wrong. Yeah? Because humans do that anyway. We're trained to do that evolutionarily. Yeah? Is that a stick over there in the grass or is it a snake? Better run just in case it's a snake. Well, 99 times it'll be a stick. But you only need to be wrong once. So we're hardwired for bad news. And so, people approach astrology as what could possibly go wrong. And Saturn and Mars can be, and Pluto, Scorpio, of all these bad ones. But Saturn really is not that. Saturn is about the gifts, earned gifts that come with experience and time and hard work. And they come right when you're older. So I've got Saturn in the fourth. And here am I at the grand old age of 66. I bought a house a year ago when I was 65. I've got Saturn in the fourth, and Neptune was just finishing squaring my Saturn. And I do feel with this house, it's like I've fallen in love with this house. Yeah, I love it. I feel I'm really meant to be here. I feel I'm calling in life. I don't know what the life is that I'm calling in. That doesn't matter. I don't need to know. I just know that by decorating it, by getting the garden right, all these things, having curtains made, having this chair made. It's a great chair, isn't it? Spending a bit of money, yeah. I'm creating this home, Saturn in the fourth, for my soul. Neptune. Neptune is sulphurous. So this maybe says something about Saturn in the seventh, is that you can spend a lot of time when you're young with relationships not really working. And you can think there's something wrong with you. But there's a certain kind of integrity around Saturn. If you're on your own, it might not be because you're not wanted or there's something wrong with you. It might be that there's something right with you, that you're not willing to put up with less. Not willing to put up with something that isn't right. You may not know what is right, but you know what isn't right, and you're not doing that, and you're prepared to wait. These are all good Saturnian qualities. And it's not how people usually work in relationships at all. They're much more Neptune, much more fantasy, romance. Yeah. Disguising all their needinesses in beauty or appearances of beauty. So I'm just moving this slightly so the cat can't stare in at me at the window. I always have to have a bit about the cat in these videos, don't I? He's staring in at me. So, yeah, Saturn later in life. And Saturn is associated with loneliness. So you may well experience loneliness. But remember, loneliness is a medicine. Loneliness is the medicine that pushes us to experience our connection with everything, with the whole universe, that the universe loves us. I mean, astrology itself does that. The fact that the chart works shows that the sky knows us. The sky's there taking care of us, telling us who we are, showing us our destiny, this bigger picture. So we are loved. So this lonely place of Saturn, yeah, it needs to become like the walls of the monk's cell. Yeah. And you meditate and you have this mystical experience in which you find relationship not with a person, but with the whole universe. But then that puts you in a really good place for being in a relationship with someone else because you're not projecting. Yeah. You've owned it all. Saturn has that kind of integrity to sit at the coalface and own it all. So you can have something really substantial later in life if you want it. You might try it out and go, actually, I'd rather be on my own. Or I'd rather lived 100 miles away because I've so learnt to love being on my own. And I think that can be really good because we mustn't lose our solitude through relationship. We need to keep that solitude because that's where our soul is. And we relate to the other out of that solitude. This is what Saturn learns. And it's a difficult lesson and it's a lifelong lesson, but it's got substance to it. And it gives you a lot of wisdom in this area. When people are tearing their hair out and their relationships falling apart and they're miserable, you have good things to say to them. You have perspective. You're not swept up in this thing where it's the be all and end all. Okay, that's a bit about Saturn in the seventh. Gosh, we're over halfway through. Uranus in the seventh. Well, we're moving much more on towards fate once we've got an outer planet in the seventh house. Because the outer planets are more like our fate, our living fate. It's not a dead fate, but they're not visible to the naked eye. So they're outside our conscious control. So you may just end up with someone and you know you need to be with that person. You may have all sorts of reservations, but you know you have to do it. It's part of something or other. We'll probably know after 20 years hindsight. But in the meantime, there's particular lessons with each outer planet in the seventh. Uranus, independence, which I've been stressing a lot. Well, I've got Venus in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, and it's opposite Uranus natally. So I would, wouldn't I? I would. But you can't reduce it to that. No, you need to keep separating off. Keep asking yourself, what is my own? What has nothing to do with this other person? And not feel there's something wrong with that. It's not about keeping secrets or anything, but it's about part of you that is untouched and keeping that. And not being with someone who has a strong agenda for who you should be. Yeah, because you'll feel like you've been put in a box. And you can't live with being put in a box. You need that freedom just to create yourself as you go along, and you don't know where that's going to go, and you're not following the conventional romantic rules. Your placement is a good one for not believing in romance. But knowing that you have to have that independence. So again, that can cause trouble. That can be threatening to the other person. So you need to be with someone who's secure enough in themselves that they don't mind that it's like, right, I'm off for 3 months now. I'm going to India and it has to be on my own. It's a pilgrimage. And it's not just them putting up with it. You need them to appreciate that in you. You need to feel that they get that or it's not going to work. So they need to be somewhere outside of that as well. And you can't put up with second best. People often put up with people because they think that's all they can get. And I'm not an advocate of telling people to split up, but often people don't think well enough of themselves to think they can be with someone where it really works. But that's the only way to be. Hold out. Be on your own until you're with someone that it really works for. There's the Saturn lesson where you have more choice. But with Uranus, it's almost that you don't have a choice. It's something coming through. It's like, no, I just can't be there. I can't do that. Yeah, I feel trapped somewhere. Yeah. Whatever anyone else thinks, I'm going to displease a lot of people. That's going to make me feel terribly guilty. But that's what I have to do. Okay, until the next time.